And we are back with the next round of the Premier League predictions after a week which sadly has once again been dominated by controversies both on and off the pitch. But we have had a lot of drama. None so really for the two teams at the top of the league, but lots of things going on in the race for the top four and in the race for relegation. I'm not going to beat around the bush today. Let's get a deeper dive into those results along with my predictions for them before we move on to game week 25. So let's get into it. These are of course my predictions for game week 24 and these were the results. Starting with a fantastic win for Eddie Howe and Newcastle once again. I did say going into this match that if it wasn't for Everton's display against Brentford in the FA Cup, I would have gone for a Newcastle win because of how well they played in their previous fixture. But you know what? Fair play to Newcastle. They put in a great performance. Their new signings already proving dividends with Trippier's free kick. And what a performance it was from Alan St-Maximin. Really starting to show his qualities now that he is fully fit once again. And like I said, great result for them. No points for me, but no complaints either. Not a lot really to say about the West Ham Watford game. It was just in my head, and I think in most people's heads, it was always going to be an easy win for West Ham. Not as easy as I predicted though, only 1-0 in the end. And speaking of not easy, we move to my club once again, Manchester United, where I don't know if it's just an attitude problem at this point. I've heard reports this morning that the players are unhappy with Ralph Rangnick's training regime. This, of course, the same Ralph Rangnick that trained the likes of Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel and taught them their methods, and to my understanding, these are the same methods he's trying to apply at Old Trafford. And despite the results that those other managers are getting, our players seem to know better and say that that method is not the right way. But you look at those players on the pitch, and at the moment it just looks like they're turning up, getting paid, and going home. And as I said in the prediction, when I initially said 1-0 Burnley, I see no real surprise in this fixture ending the way it does. It did. But the only other disappointment from a video making perspective is that once again I have to shout out my mate James Morris, who accurately did predict 1-1 for Burnley United, as well as accurately predicting the Liverpool-Leicester scoreline as well. So well done to him. On to Man City and Brentford. And Brentford, to all accounts, put up a great display, exactly the same as they did in the reverse fixture at home. And it did result in the same outcome, 2-0 Manchester City win both times. Again, not really a lot I can say about that. It just doesn't really look like City are going to be slowed down, even though that result against Southampton did slow them a smidge. Norwich and Crystal Palace was a game really dominated by just 2 minutes. Norwich taking the lead in the first minute of the match, and then Wilfried Zaha scoring a wonder goal, and 30 seconds from the kickoff after that getting a penalty which he then slipped and missed. It finished 1-1. Maybe I disrespected Crystal Palace a little bit with my 2-1 Norwich prediction, but I still think Norwich will probably feel they should have won the game going into it, not necessarily by the end of it. On to the aforementioned good performing Southampton, and my word what a game this was, and my word what a season James Ward-Prowse is having. 2 assists for him this time, 2 absolutely phenomenal crosses for headers at the back post. Obviously all those comparisons he seems to get with David Beckham around his free kicks, it appears he's showing no signs of any less ability when it comes to his crossing either. And I don't really know what Tottenham do right now. They were in pole position for the top 4. They had the most games in hand, but those games in hand are running out fast. And I think we're going to have a very big North London derby coming up in the next few weeks. On to Aston Villa and Leeds in what was probably the most chaotic game of the week. No surprises that Leeds were involved in said chaos. Once again, Felipe Coutinho showing his ability, and what a signing he's already looks like he's proved to be for Aston Villa. €40 million buyout. I don't know if there's an obligation or option to. I think it's an option to buy for €40 million in the summer, and right now I can't see Aston Villa not taking that option. But we have to give credit to Leeds here. Yes, there are a couple of Aston Villa mistakes to the goals, but Dan James finally repaying some of that 30 million that Leeds paid for him, and I think they'll feel well merited for the draw. It was a surprise result for me, given how well Villa have played recently. But fair play to Leeds. They are always the team that can crop up with the crazy result, and they've done so once again. On to Liverpool and Leicester, and again, not really too much that needs to be said here. I think we all expected Liverpool to come away with an easy win, and that is what happened. Weird to see two centre-backs getting 2 assists, especially since only one goal was a result of a corner. But from what I saw, the bits of this game, Liverpool were just far, far too good for Leicester, and are rightfully the team currently occupying second place and trying to hunt down Man City as best they can. So that's just the way it is, and it is once again unfortunate as a United fan that it is City and Liverpool that are currently running away with the league. But that's just the way it has to be for us United fans at the moment. And probably one of our other teams we don't like to talk about is, of course, Arsenal, who, despite yet another red card going against them, managed to get a very good 1-0 win away at Wolves. Disappointed from my predictions perspective, disappointed from a Man United perspective, as I wanted this game to be a draw. And certainly after the red card, Wolves absolutely pummeled Arsenal, but just couldn't quite break through that Arsenal defence and Aaron Ramsdale. Kind of like with the Liverpool game in the Carabao Cup, Arsenal down to 10 men. They dig in hard and they don't give away those goals easily. So 1-0 in the end. And overall, I end the midweek fixtures with a score of 3 once again, giving me a season score of 136. Don't forget to let me know down in the comments how you are getting on as we move on to game week 25. And we start, potentially unfortunately, with my club once again. And it is a double game week for Manchester United and Brighton, as I am going to include both fixtures on here, as right now this is the only other game in this double game week. I would be lying if I said I wasn't incredibly concerned about this fixture. Obviously Southampton have just got the draw against Man City and then the away win at Tottenham. So they're going to be going into this absolutely full of confidence. Despite his notable mistake against Burnley, it looks like the board are fully standing behind Harry Maguire as their long-term captain and are expecting Ralph Rangnick to pick him at the weekend. So we'll see. Obviously the fans are calling for him to be dropped, but we'll see. Is Rangnick just another puppet of the board, or will he make a potentially controversial decision? Either way, I'm going to let my bias get away from me once again, and I am going to predict Manchester United to win this game 2-1. I still don't see us keeping a clean sheet. We never keep clean sheets, but I have to keep believing. If we keep creating the chances we're creating, we're going to start scoring goals. So for now, I'm going to stick with the Manchester United win. If we don't win either of these two fixtures this week, then that may change going forward. On to Brighton and Crystal Palace, and I've not really respected Brentford all season, and I'm going to continue to disrespect them, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 Crystal Palace away win. I do think this is a really tough one to call, but I just, again, look at the two teams and I see Crystal Palace with more quality. I can see Brentford causing Palace problems with their physical style of play, but I think if you get the likes of Elise and Zaha and Eze running at those Burnley defenders, they should be too much for them. So I'm going to go for 2-1 to Crystal Palace. Another tough one to call is Everton and Leeds. Obviously, after their bad result against Newcastle and Leeds' fantastic result away at Aston Villa, I would be remiss if I didn't really go for a result that favours Leeds. However, I am just going to edge it in Everton's favour. I'm going to make it entertaining and I'm going to give it a 3-2 to Everton. But yeah, this is every Leeds game is a near impossible game to predict. But off the back of the midweek we've just had, even more so. But I'm giving this one to Everton, 3-2. Now, Brighton come back into the predictions, and I'm just going to get it out of the way. I've never gone for the Brighton draw. I always predict one way or another. So this time, finally, I am going to go for the 1-1 draw. Now, there's not really much more to say about it. I think Brighton are a better team than Watford, but away from home, I expect Watford to still do something. So that is my justification, and I'm not going to bottle the draw this time. Naturally, of course, this will be the one where Brighton win or lose, but it is what it is. Norwich and Man City, again, I can only really see this going one way. Theme that will continue when we get to the other big team right now. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Man City win. And for Burnley-Liverpool, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Liverpool win. Both for the same reasons, really. They're playing lower level. Yeah, it is lower level. I was going to say lower league. It's not lower league, it's lower level. They're playing lower level opposition with the greatest respects to Norwich and Burnley. And right now, both of these teams should be far too much for their opposition. So I don't think anyone can have any complaints with me predicting both of the top two to win 2-0. And we move on to Newcastle and Aston Villa. Another really, really tough game to call. And this time, I'm not going to disrespect the efforts that Newcastle have put in. And I'm going to give them their third win in a row. Obviously, Aston Villa still scored 3 goals against Leeds. They're going to be a threat. Again, with Coutinho seemingly playing amazingly and Jacob Ramsey looking like a hell of a find from the Aston Villa Academy. But Newcastle have got their tails up right now. St James's Park is rocking. They're going to be giving it everything they've got in this game as well. And I can see them getting the win. So that is why I'm going the way I'm going. On to Tottenham and Wolves. And again, really, really tough one to call. Tottenham seem very much out of form. Wolves are obviously an incredibly tough team to break down. And although they didn't nick the goal against Arsenal, they always look like a team that could nick a goal. And with all of that said, I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw once again. Spurs obviously should, on paper, win this fixture, but I think they've just got a little mental block at the moment. Maybe, again, it's my Manchester United bias being a little bit too optimistic, but it is the result I want. And right now, I think it's the most likely result. I don't think... Obviously, if Tottenham were winning, I would say they'd win this one easy. But they're not winning right now. And I'm going to give it 1-1. On to the final game of the weekend. Another game that is both very interesting. I think it'll be a good watch. But equally incredibly tough to predict. Both teams, of course, have been scoring well recently, but not necessarily defending great. Obviously, West Ham have a reasonably good defensive record, but Leicester are a slightly harder team, especially away from home, than the ones they've been playing recently. So this is going to be my 2-2 prediction for the week as I scroll the wrong way. Not really got a lot more to say about it. It is a very tight one. It would not surprise me if Leicester won. It would not surprise me if West Ham won. And that is precisely why I've gone for the 2-2 draw. And we end game week 25 with the only midweek fixture. And that is Manchester United once again against Brighton once again. And I'm just going to let my bias take away from it again. I'm going to go for 1-0. Brighton obviously struggle to score goals. Arguably even more so than we do. So I can see this being a very long and boring game. Thankfully, most of you, I'm sure, will be watching Champions League instead of this. But I have to once again believe that we'll get the job done. I will say this now, dependent on the Southampton result, I may change this prediction. I feel like I'm entitled to change this prediction. It's my series after all. So yeah, if the results for Man United, Southampton and Watford, Brighton are like extreme in either direction, I will change the Manchester United Brighton prediction. But as it stands right here, right now, I think a 1-0 Manchester United win is the most likely result. And that will conclude another week of predictions. Drop a like if you're enjoying this series. Let me know down in the comments your predictions, just in case I get the opportunity to shout you out. And I will see you next weekend.